amazing. I couldn't be happier with this company.
We absolutely love these cages.
One at a time, okay, guys?
Hey, everybody. See if I can get this straight here. All right. Good morning, guys. Welcome to another Coturnix Corners Morning Musings. Glad y'all could join us. I hope everyone's doing well. We are coming to you live from the Aviary, but as you can see, we're not in the Aviary. We've had rain all morning today, so we decided to just move the live stream inside instead of not going live from the Aviary. But I want to welcome everyone who showed up so far. See, we've got quite a few comments already over in the chat room, so that's cool. We got a lot of stuff going on this morning, so I want to jump right into it. First off, shout out to our sponsors, HP Morry over at Gopher Ridge Quail Farm and Hatching Time. As you know, both these guys donate prizes to give away on all the live streams. HP donates a 30 count of hatching eggs, and Hatching Time gives us a $50 gift certificate each week to give away. So much appreciated. A big shout out to them guys. Also, speaking of Gopher Ridge, and I'm going to bring this one up a couple times during the live stream, HP has extended the Coturnix Corners sale for the 27 count of Coturnix hatching eggs. It's $15.50 per box plus your shipping costs. And he has also raised the limit to 4 boxes per person. So if you guys want to get a good deal on hatching eggs, head on over to gopherridgequail.com and check out the Coturnix Corner sale. What else we got going on? Today we will be announcing the winner of the May Coturnix Kids program. I'll do that here shortly. What else did I have? There was one other thing. Okay, as long as we'll talk about the giveaways real quick. We're going to be doing a giveaway. We haven't done this one in a long time, but the Coturnix Corner Retro Tumbler, we'll be giving that away today also. And I think we're going to use the StreamYard giveaway tool again to do this. So I will give you guys the hashtag to comment over in the chat room, and that will put you in the running for the drawing. Okay, what else do we have going? I've got a video that I want to play for you guys real quick, but I'll do that short in a minute here. Let's go ahead and do the kids program winner for May. This month's winner is Emerson. Emerson did a collection of. She went around and collected a bunch of towels to donate to the local animal. I don't know if it's a shelter or a vet's office, but anyhow, it says, my name is Emerson. Hold on, guys. I got to make this a little bit bigger. I'm trying to figure out how I can do it because I can't read that in here. Let me bring it up on my computer. Hold on one second. Always prepared for the live streams. Okay, Emerson writes, my name is Emerson Durnan. I am 10 years old. I got 5 quail for Christmas. Afterwards, I got 5 more. For my service project, I donated to the animal shelter. I collected some towels from the neighborhood and put the towels in bags and gave them to the animal shelter. The people there were so happy. Now that they have towels, they could be used for blankets and rugs, and the towels could also be used after they give the animals a bath. It warms my heart to know that the animals have something to snuggle. And the thing I really like about this is at 10 years old, she wrote beautifully in cursive. You don't see a whole lot of that anymore. So Emerson, thank you very much for your your entry. I am going to real quick. Emerson also submitted a little video. I want to play that for you guys. It's only like a minute long, but we'll go ahead and bring that up, and it's pretty neat. So, Emerson, thank you very much. You went above and beyond. I can see why the judges selected your entry. It's really a great entry. I do want to say, Emerson, that I've already talked with your mom, and she sent us your shipping information. So you've got a lot of stuff coming in the mail, probably within the next week or so. Wholesome Harvest is going to send you out a bag of feed to get you started. Southern Biophiliac and Big Spring Quail will be supplying you with hatching eggs. Stellar Game Birds and Sugar Feather Farm, one of those two will be sending you out an incubator. Pips and Chicks and Champions Blend will be sending you out a gift certificate for Tractor Supply. And then, of course, Hatching Time will be sending out a 2-unit layer cage to get you started. So congratulations, Emerson. Really appreciate your entry. And if anybody's got any kids that are interested in getting into this program, just head on over to coturnixcorner.com, and in the top nav bar, there's links to show you how to get started in that. It's a really great program, and the kids are really enjoying it. And the thing I like about it is, one, you have the entries that the kids send in, but you also have the follow-up pictures that the parents usually send me in, or they post over on coturnixcorner.com of their kids with their prizes and whatnot. So that's really neat. So again, congratulations, Emerson. Much appreciated. All right. So what we're here to talk about today, like I said, we were supposed to go live from the aviary, but it is raining, so we're not going to chance it and get all wet. But this is Morry's last day here in town, so we want to go live again. He is going to be coming on again live back from Michigan. He's going to do a smoker video on how to smoke quail and whatnot. So that'll be really interesting. All right. I got a short video that I want to show you guys about the aviary. This is basically building the aviary. And the reason I want to show you this is last week we just showed a few pictures. But this week we are actually showing you video of how the aviary went together. And I'll kind of talk a little bit as it's playing what's going on here. Here you can see, once you figured out the dimensions of your aviary, I went through and I pre-cut everything, pre-drilled all the holes. And what I did was I assembled each end wall first. And what we did was, you can see there's me and my wife. We stood the end walls up, and we are putting the cross pieces in. And that's what it looks like there. You'll notice 45s in the corners. I'm big on using those because it strengthens everything up, keeps everything square, and works out really well. And then there's those corner braces that I use. Those really stiffen things up. This is me and my neighbor hanging some of the wire on the aviary, the top wire. And you can see I got a green screwdriver in my hand. I use that to pull the wire tight while I'm stapling it. And this, I'm just working on the door, hanging hinges, making sure that everything opens well. You can see we already installed the lattice around the bottom piece. And for the top, I use a tarp on mine, but on the grommets, I'll put a little washer that's made out of some leftover lattice material. And that just keeps the tarp from, being pulled off the screws. There you can see again, stapling on the wire using the screwdriver to stretch it tight. And that's pretty much the finished aviary. We're cutting off a piece of wire that we just hung there. And this is afterwards, once the birds were put in. I did install a 5-gallon bucket water with some nipples. Like I say, I changed out the vertical nipples to the horizontal nipples because it seems like the vertical ones leaked an awful lot. But no, it went really well, the aviary project. I like it. My birds never look as good once we put them in the aviary. The birds aren't all tore up. Like the birds you keep in the cages, it seems like they lose back feathers or head feathers from mating. The ones in the aviary, for some reason, they don't really do that. And just a few more photos or video of the furniture and whatnot I put in there, some plants. I left the plants in the pots, just made it a lot easier. I think most of the plants ended up getting tore up by the quail. Did you put live plants in yours?
Yeah.
Did you?
Didn't last very long.
But that's about it. I just wanted to show you guys that real quick to kind of get things started and give you a better idea of how I put it together. There's the feeders, and I tried one of them shoebox feeders, but that didn't seem to work very well. All right. That brings us to the end of that video. If you guys have any questions, post them over in the chat room. Like I say, it can be anything, any topic, but it is a aviary theme. So let's go see who all's in the house today. We got Marie, says good morning. Papa's in the house, says good morning, everyone. Woodtick 1970 says good morning, everyone. Chantel's in the house, says good morning. Glad you could join us, Chantel. Hope you got all your stuff worked out. Papa says I'm on day 9 of my first hatch ever. I'm both excited and nervous. Yeah, that'll happen to you on your first ones.
Yep.
Farmer's in the house says good morning. I like that. Farm Her 1956. That's a cool name. Tater Farm says, good morning, everyone. Gorgeous day here in central Georgia. Well, that's nice. We've had, Morry and my sister were lucky to have beautiful weather the whole time they were down here. This is our last day. We did get a little rain, but I needed the rain, something terrible. My lawn was starting to turn brown, and the bees needed, blooming flowers, so that's really going to help. Andy Rabbit's in the house, says good morning. Morning, Andy. Glad you could join us. John says good morning. Morning, John. Big Tree Farms in the house says good morning from New Hampshire. Glad you could join us. Janelle says good morning. Good morning, Janelle. Andy Rabbit talking to Papa says congratulations. You know it won't be your last. I remember my first hatch. Yeah, as do I. And that was several years ago. But to me, I still get excited when I put birds into, or eggs into lockdown. It seems like, even though I know when about they're going to hatch, it seems like I'm checking on the incubator all the time just to see when they start popping out. Allie from Confetti Quails in the house says good morning, everyone. Glad you could join us, Allie. Papa says thanks, Andy. Nervous as all get out. Yeah, that'll come and go real quick. Once they start hatching, then it's kind of more enjoyable. CF Deacom says good morning. Glad you could join us. Dragon Girl's in the house says good morning. Brian Allen says good morning from Alabama. Glad you could join us, Brian. Don Skins in the house says good morning from South Mississippi. Money Acres Homestead says good morning from New York. Welcome and glad you could join us. Dan's in the house says good morning from Fremont, Washington. Glad you could join us. Katrina says good morning, first live. Glad you could join us on your first live. We do this every Sunday at 9 a.m. if everything goes right and I don't screw things up. Or if we have guests, we usually bring them on our Tuesday evening live stream. That's 7 p.m. Eastern. Farmer says good morning from Michigan. Oh, another Michigander. Hannah Bishop's in the house. Says good morning. Glad you could join us, Hannah. Bruce says good morning from Northern California where the vineyards meet the redwoods. Very cool. I would love to get out there and see the redwoods. Brian says good morning from Texas. Morning, Brian. Viking Chicks in the house says good morning. Mike says good morning from Edgewater, Florida. Hope everyone is having a great morning. Yeah, we are. It's so far. I mean, I'm so happy that it's finally raining. We really need the flowers to bloom and whatnot. Tracy says good morning from Minnesota. Gargolian's in the house says morning while out shopping for needs. Cool. Glad you could join us. Don Skin says love the hat. Yeah, we went to the flea market yesterday and just walking through the market, and I saw a couple booths that had these hats, and I've always wanted one, so I went ahead and spent the $10 to get it. Woodtick says, I just set 60 of my own in the Mini. Cool. Hope you get a good hatch. MJS Pets and Exotics, afternoon from Liverpool, England. That's cool. Glad you could join us, Mitt. Paula Davis says, hi all from Portsmouth, UK. We've got a couple of them from over the pond there. Glad you could join us, Paula. CCC Homestead says, good morning from Vermont. Glad you could join us. All Clean Exteriors says, good morning, everyone. Glad you could join us. That's not Kurt. That is Zach. Good morning, Zach.
Got engaged yesterday.
Really? Congratulations. Reed says, congratulations, Emerson. Absolutely. She did a wonderful job. CF Deacom says, happy Sunday. Woodtick says, I just set 60 my own in the Mini. My flock is growing fast. Yeah, that's cool. And they do grow fast. I just hatched out, what would you say we got out there? About 40, maybe?
At least.
Yeah, right around 40 chicks hatched out of, I can't tell you how many, but I set a bunch of my eggs, and I set some eggs that Rebecca from Thieving Outer Farm sent me, which was kind of a surprise because I did not know they were coming. And yeah, everything hatched out, so we're doing good there. I'll probably end up replacing a lot of birds that are in my aviary right now. I'll butcher some up and make some dog food out of it or something. Trina says, good job, Emerson. Absolutely. Cam puts up a big heart. Janelle says, congratulations, Emerson. Great job. Data Farm says, congratulations, Emerson. Yeah, she did a wonderful job, and she went above and beyond on this one. Marie says, congratulations. Nadia 21 says, boiling some quail eggs for breakfast. Cool. Morry made us breakfast yesterday. We had bacon and scrambled quail eggs. It was delicious. Woodtick 1970 says, congrats, Emerson. I agree. Cam says, nice cursive. You don't see a whole lot of kids or people anymore writing in cursive. I think it's great. Dragon Girl says, congratulations, Emerson. Papa says, keep up the good work, Emerson. Allie says, this is amazing. Yeah, I agree, Allie. That was a very good presentation. Allie, you were talking a while back about doing some intro videos on genetics for the kids. Get a hold of me and let me know what you want to do on that, or if you're able to do it or whatnot. Andy Rabbit says, congratulations. Love the video. I do agree on her handwriting. It's very impressive. I agree. Tater Farm says, great video, Emerson. Well-deserved recognition, young lady. I think so, too. Costello Hobby Farm said, that's pretty cool. Good job, Emerson. Andy Rabbit says, hello, Morry. It's been enjoyable having you co-host.
Thank you.
There you go. You got a title.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been nice because you guys all know I miss like every other live stream. So Morry kind of kept me on my toes. Nadia says, what is your all-time favorite aviary substrate and why? Trying to decide on deep litter method versus others.
I use deep letter method. It's a lot easier. You just go in there, turn it over, and just keep working it.
And what are you putting down as a substrate?
Mulch.
Yeah, I do the same thing. We have a local park over here that we can, back a truck up to and load up as much mulch as we want. And, it works really well. Right now, I'm actually using pine shavings only because my aviary is the thickness of a 2x4. The litter is. I need to go ahead and lift that aviary up again before rainy season, or I'm going to have some issues then. But yeah, I don't know how well the pine shavings would work right off the bat. I mean, my birds right now are kicking the pine shavings into their feeder, into their water bucket, or whatever you want to call it. And but with the substrate, I didn't seem to have that issue. Okay, Butterfly Me Away says, morning, glad you could join us. Gorgolian says, I've been traveling. Been a while since I caught a live stream. Yeah, I know. It's been a while since I've seen your name here, but I'm glad you actually were able to get in here today. Nanny B says, good morning from Connecticut. Andy Rabbit says, hey, Allie, good morning. Good morning, Andy. Cam says, I'm watching and listening while making El Ruteri yogurt. So happy for the rain. I've never heard of that, El whatever.
No idea.
And we're happy for the rain too. So. Woodtick says, I'm planning on smoking some quail today. Nothing better than quail cooked outside. Absolutely. Muddy Acres Homestead says, question, could you do a show on quail and quail egg recipes? We actually didn't do one on, we did one on quail. Let me see if I have the video or the image file. Let's see, hold on, it'll take me a second to find this. Might not be able to find it. I'm looking on my computer, contest. Is it on that one? We did a live last week on cooking. I don't think it was. Anyhow, I thought I had an image of our stuff that we cooked up last week. It was really good. We did, what was it called?
Stuffed quail breast.
Yeah, stuffed quail breast wrapped in bacon. Oh, it was delicious. And then I did fried quail eggs. And that was good. And the dogs enjoyed some of it too. So. But yeah, we can do another show on, like I say, Morry's going back home today. Maybe in a couple of weeks, he's going to do a live stream from Michigan on smoking quail. And yeah, maybe we can throw in a few extra items, or I can do something, he can do something. How do you stop male quail from crowing at night time? They're outside.
Turn the lights off or
Yeah.
call them.
Yeah, make sure all your lights are off. We had an issue the other day where I think my wife did it, left the light on all night long, and the roosters were crowing. So. CF Deacom says our first batch of quail have started laying. It only took them 10 weeks. My 10-year-old has been anxiously waiting since week 6. Yeah, I know exactly how your 10-year-old feels, because it seems like I took forever to get my quail to start laying this season. But cool. Congratulations. Hope you get lots of eggs. Nanny B says, lockdown for my first hatch will be Friday. I sure understand you're nervous and excited at the same time. Yep. How's the puppies doing? They're getting big. They're all crashed out in their little playpen right now, but they're getting big. They're going to be 9 weeks Wednesday. They've got to go in for a vet check, and once they get the vet check, we can start putting them up for sale. They made a new law in Florida that all dogs have to be vet checked prior to sale. So I think it's a good idea. You know, it protects the customer and it protects the breeders. So. Costello Hobby Farms is in the process of setting up my 8x10. Only have 10 birds to put in it so far. That won't take long. You'll have more than that, I guarantee it. Kurt's in the house. Says good morning from Michigan. Glad you can join us, Kurt. And he says, I set a set of eggs last week, starting up for the year. I'm excited to have some babies. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing. I just hatched out some that I'm going to replace most of the birds that are in the aviary now because they're not real old, but you know they were hatched out early November last year. So I'll probably hang on to a few of the hens just so I have eggs all the time, but until these new ones start laying anyhow. Parker says, I have eggs I won from one of these lives going into lockdown later today. Cool. Congratulations on the win and on the lockdown. Offie Matrix says, afternoon from the UK. That's 3 people from over on the other side of the pond. That's cool. Alex says, hello, I'm from Perry, Georgia. Glad you could join us, Alex. Been through Perry many, many times. Costello Hobby Farms says, first day in a week that it's not raining here in North Alabama. I wish I could say that because we really need the rain. Where are you guys off to? Gambling? Oh. Here we go. Fahim says, good morning from England. Another, that's like 4 people from over there. Alex says, do you have any contests going on or giveaways? We do. We're giving away a Coturnix Corner Retro Tumbler. Believe it or not, Coturnix Corner was established in 2019. So, yeah, that's going out today. We've got a 30 count of hatching eggs from HP Morry also going out today and a $50 hatching time gift certificate. As a matter of fact, if you guys want to comment hashtag Tumbler, TUMBLER, we'll go ahead and do the first giveaway shortly once we get a few entries in here. So comment hashtag Tumbler and we'll do that giveaway, and then we'll later on get into the hatching eggs and the gift certificate. Alan says, question, if I had a pansy fee hen, what would you breed it to if you didn't have any other pansy? I always go back to Pharaoh. I like to breed back to Pharaoh. That way it kind of gives me a true representation of what genetics the birds are carrying. If I didn't have another pansy, I would go back to Pharaoh because you are going to get some regular pansy, I believe, out of that mix. I don't know what the percentage will be. Allie, if you're in the house still, can you verify that if she bred a pansy fee back to Pharaoh, if it would in fact produce a Pharaoh? Or not a Pharaoh, but a pansy. Go for it. HP's in the house. This morning, Alex from Douglas, Georgia. That's another good time. I'm going to bring that up again because I know we've got a lot of new people in here. HP Morry over at Gopher Ridge Quail is extending the Coturnix Corner sale. He's got 35 variety boxes. That number may have changed, but they are a 27 count of mixed Coturnix hatching eggs for $15.50. It says their limit 2 per person, but he's actually bumped that up to limit 4 per person. If you're interested, head on over to Gopher Ridge Quail, and you can find out how to order them over there. So, again, welcome to the live stream, HP. Appreciate it. All right, that's Callie Ray. That's Morry and my sister's dog. That's where all the poodles came from, by the way. This is Cookie's mom and Tilly's mom. I don't know if you guys know Tilly. Tilly's the white poodle that we have. So, all right. Bill says, good morning, all. My experiment breeding black and white produced lavenders, tuxedos, tan, black, browns, and all colors speckled. Just beautiful birds. Wow. That's crazy. I know the blacks, there's a lot of stuff mixed in with the black that makes them black, but I didn't realize you would get all that out of them. Alex says, Douglas isn't that far from me. Good morning. Cam says, most of my yogurt customers are dogs as it kills the bacteria that causes tooth decay. That's cool. Plus 4 types of yeast for more benefits. Nice. Cam says, last week's live got me thinking I'm going to raise my pen and work towards doing deep litter.
Good idea.
Yeah, I think you'll really like it. One, it's a lot easier to keep clean, and you don't have to clean as much. And at the same time, you're making compost, that you can use in a garden or whatever. Andy said, I really thought you said fried quail eggs on that live.
Legs.
Legs. I did say legs. And also, Morry caught me. Didn't I say chicken legs at one point? So, yeah, I really screwed up. Muddy Acres Homestead says, figures I missed last week. Well, you can always watch the replay. Farm Her says, good morning from Michigan. Glad you could join us. Go for Ridge says, Allie and Andy building more coffee. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about there, HB. I'll figure it out, though. Smoked quail eggs. Yes. Tell them about that.
They're great. Got to do them.
I've never tried.
Maybe I'll do some on the video.
Yeah. He's doing a smoker video anyhow, so we could always do the eggs. Savage Daughter Farms in the house says, hello, everyone. Stella Hobby Farm says, got our first quail eggs yesterday. Cool. Congratulations. Andy says the same thing. Congratulations on the first egg. Next best thing to the first one hatching. Absolutely. Fred says, what causes soft eggshells? As long as they're getting plenty of calcium, you shouldn't have too much of an issue with a shelled egg. But some quail, they'll have a mess up in their reproductive tract. They'll actually lay like a rubbery egg. Usually that doesn't last too long. If they're on a good diet, every once in a while they'll blink and give you a bad egg. But if it continues, I would look into diet, especially if your egg shells are soft, as in cracking or breaking all the time. You might want to increase your calcium levels. Oh, there we go. Allie and Andy, coffee's ready. How do you desire yours? You didn't even offer me coffee, HP. Thanks, buddy. See, Cam says, on the cage holding my extra males, I put a string of incandescent blue lights around it, and after a couple weeks, stopped crowing. I'm not even seeing them produce foam. Wow, that's weird.
They should produce foam in an all-male cage. They kind of turn gay.
Twisted Garrett's Farm says, morning, lots of work today, doing splits all day. Nice. I wish I was doing splits. Cam says, okay, blue lights. Savage Daughter Farm says, nice here in Missouri. We have so many backyard breeders. I used to get pissed when people would bring thin, emaciated, pregnant dogs into the clinic. Yeah, that's a fact. Matter of fact, I've got a backyard breeder next block over and a few houses down that I got a feeling all his dogs are outside because they continually yap all night long. And I don't know. I don't like puppy mills. Julia says, hi, my quails are just starting to lay after having them a year and a half. So far, 39 with 29 in the incubator since 427. What did I do wrong? It depends. If they just started laying, it depends on when they first hatched out. They may have became sexually mature during the short daylight hours, which they're not going to lay anyhow. And sometimes that can take, let's see, mine took like 5 months because they hatched out in November, and it took them till February, the end of February this year, before I got my first egg. So I don't think you really did anything wrong. Another thing you want to make sure is you got plenty of daylight. Between 14 and 16 hours of daylight, that usually gets your hens laying. But congratulations. I mean, so far 39, 29 in the incubator. That's not bad. Andy Rabbit, talking to HP, said I'll take mine. Looks like weak chocolate milk. Twisted Garrett Farms says hope all is well. I will watch the replay. Julia says finally caught your live. Cool. Glad you did. CF Deacom says, any recommendations for a cheap beginner incubator? Take that one, Morty.
Van Poopos, or
They're no
however
longer.
you. Oh, they're not.
No, they're done.
No, I really don't know.
I would look
I
into.
recommend Terry's incubators.
Yeah, there you go. If you're handy at building, you could put together the DIY boxes. Them work
And
great.
they're not expensive.
Right.
It's probably the best, I'd say, inexpensive
Cabinet
incubator.
incubator. Yeah. But you can get tabletop models from Brinzia. Barato makes a decent incubator. I've even heard good things. I don't recommend them very many times to people because I've never had good luck with them. But a lot of people still use the Nurture Right 360s. They say that the newer ones are actually doing a lot better than the older models did. So check into those. But check Amazon. They've got a lot of Chinese incubators out there. Matter of fact, I've got one in the shop. It's called a Bobmail, Bobmail, and it's a dome type incubator. And I actually hatched eggs out of it for the first time a month or so ago, and it did pretty darn good. I mean, it kept the temperature stable, during the incubation process. I did have to mess with the humidity a little bit, but other than that, it did all right. I don't like recommending the cheaper Chinese models just because they can be so iffy. I mean, you can get a great hatch out of them, one time, and then you fire it up, and the next time it doesn't do anything for you. So, or totally fails as far as temperature and humidity. So, but look into the Baratos, look into the Brinzias. They're all really decent incubators. Follows this question: the males have no lights on them. I put over them plastic cover on top, but one still crows.
Yeah, I don't know.
Put them in the freezer.
Yep.
You're gonna have some that crow at night, regardless of the light situation. I mean, I could turn off the lights in my shop when I had all my birds inside, and I still probably had half a dozen of them out of 300, 400, 500 birds that would crow all night long, or they'd start real early in the morning, like 2, 3 o'clock. So, all right, looks like we got quite a few people that are commenting Tumblr. So let's go ahead and do the giveaway. Again, you're going to get a Coturnix Corner retro tumbler. Just comment #tumbler, and we'll go ahead and pull that up and do the giveaway. Let's see here. It always takes me a minute to remember how to do this. So I got to share the screen. All right. The hashtag is Tumblr. I got to make sure I spell it right. All right. We'll collect some comments here. Looks like we've got 30 entries so far. And the winner will be Cargolian. Cool.
First time back and wins, huh?
Yeah, come back in. You win a tumbler. Cargolian, go ahead and email me your shipping information over to Terry at coturnixcorner.com. I'm going to put that in the chat room right now. Oops. And make sure I get a good phone number and a good email address along with your address. And I will send you a tracking number as soon as it ships. So let me go down to the bottom. Put that on the screen here for a minute. All right, where were we at here? A whole bunch of tumblers. Andy Rabbit says 2019, that's when I got my first set of quail again after about 15, 20-year break. Nice. Yeah, I didn't even know what year Coturnix Corner started. I guess I could have gone on the channel and looked at some of the early videos, but I never did. Okay, we've got a bunch of people commenting. Tumblr, how does Allie take her coffee? I'd drink tar if it meant coffee with HB. That's funny. All right. What happened here? Papa says, can you do a show on the types of quail? That would be a really good show to have Allie come on because she's got a lot of pictures of, the different varieties. And she has a lot more knowledge than I do when it comes to genetics and what it takes to breed to get these different ones. But yeah, I will reach out to Allie and see if that's something she'd like to do. Larry says, good morning, Terry from Baileyton, Tennessee. Glad you could join us, Larry. Larry says, what's the best D-mite solution for Coturnix and how do you apply it? I have never had to use anything on my quail. I've never seen them get mites, but you can use, what's the name of this stuff? It's right. Permethrin. You can get permethrin off of Amazon. I would dumb it way down, like maybe it's a 10% solution. So I would go maybe 0.5% or 1%. I used to use it on all my cages when I would take the wood cages outside and pressure wash them. After they dried out, I would spray the wood down with that light solution of permethrin just to kill anything that might have been, living in the wood or whatever. But I have read that, yeah, you can take that and spray it down. I've actually heard of people using the permethrin on dogs to get rid of fleas. And it's pretty safe if you mix it right, or if you mix it way down, like 0.5 or 1%, it's pretty safe. Fig Tree Farm says yes, smoker video with smoked eggs. There you go. Remember that. Write that down.
Yep.
Nita Garrett's in the house says good morning, everyone. I'm late as usual, but you made it. That's all that counts, Anita. Thanks for joining us. Lolo Fluffy Nugget. Good morning from Wetumpka. Wetumpka? I don't know where that is. My first hatch will be 3 weeks old tomorrow. They're growing so fast. Yes, they do that. All right. Andrew Rabbit says pansy is a hidden gene, so breeding to a feral will give you babies with a hidden gene of pansy and would have to breed the babies back to get more. There you go. Okay. Appreciate that, Andy. Mike says, what kind of calcium additive do you use? I don't. I just check the feed tag and make sure that it's got, I want to say 3% calcium for layers and 1% for non-layers. If anybody knows the exact percentage, I don't see my feed experts in here today, so I don't know. Butterfly Me Away says, I got my first eggs for 2 days in a row last week, but my males were extremely aggressive, so I took them out. Now my ladies aren't laying. Any thoughts on that? Too much stress? Yeah, stress can cause them to go off lay. I don't think I would have separated them. I mean, as long as they weren't hurting the hens, a lot of times when roosters breed with hens, they'll pull, head feathers, sometimes the back of the neck. Even the back sometimes gets wore out, but as long as they're not trying to draw blood, I usually don't worry about it. I don't know how many males you had in with how many females, but sometimes you can change that ratio too, and that'll help your hens out. Julia says, I do thank you so much for all your videos and knowledge. God bless you. Well, thank you, Julia. Appreciate that. Andy says, I say if vets didn't charge ridiculous to fix an animal, more people would fix them. 3 years ago, it was $60 to fix a female cat and $100 for a pit bull female. Now it's $200 for a cat. Yeah, I believe it. We get kind of like perks if you fix your dog. Your licenses are a lot cheaper than if it was an unfixed animal. But yeah, you're right. The prices are ridiculous. What did you guys pay to get Callie fixed?
I don't know.
A couple $100?
I
$100?
have no idea. That's the wife's department.
All right, Paula says, I thought I bought 8 quail. Should have been 6 female, 2 males, but I found out there is 1 female and 7 males. Oh, Lord. Now put female, 2 male with her, now laying eggs first time. Going to try to hatch. Yeah, definitely take most of those males and put them in the freezer. That many males will end up tearing that female apart. Corgolian says, first time winning anything from you too. Cool. Setting a bunch of records today. Again, here is the email address. Everybody else, make note of that because we're going to have a couple more winners yet today, and that's where you're going to send the your information. Viking Chick says, I have a batch of HP's Italian eggs hatching in the incubator now. 1 born so far. Thank you, HP. Cool. Congratulations. Hope you get a really good hatch. GIS Herb says, my hatching eggs came in. Thanks. Congratulations. Saving up a few more days worth of my few hens and we'll set a big batch. There you go. That's right. You did. Matter of fact, you selected them. That's right.
Was it eggs or a cup?
I thought he won the eggs. I don't know. Paul says, I don't put D-mite on mine. They bathe themselves in sand. They've been okay. Yeah, I've never had an issue with mites either. I've got birds indoors and outdoors, or had birds indoors and outdoors, and I've never had an issue with mites. Here's a good idea. Diatomaceous earth in their sand bath. If you have any mites, that will kill them. Good idea. Butterfly me away. Katrina says, heard of people mixing diatomaceous earth into their dust bath or wood ash to help with mites on chickens. There you go. Andy Rabb says, I didn't see Anita sneak in. Hello. Corgolian says, okay, finally done putting away colds. Now I can do this. Thank you, everyone, and Terry. Absolutely. Glad you could pull off a win. Larry says, what temperature do you smoke your eggs and how long? I've never had them.
220, I don't know, half hour till the shell turns chocolatey.
How is it solid like a hard boiled egg after you peel it?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
it looks just like a hard boiled egg when you peel it.
Okay, cool. Corgolian says, I grind up eggshells to supplement calcium if I need to, but I can't remember what % that is. Yeah, I used to do that too. I would, the eggs that we eat, I had a bowl that I would throw the eggshells in and wash them and bake them in the oven, crunch them all up real good, and always fed them back to the quail. Brian says, do you still need to provide extra light in the springtime for them to lay eggs? No, as long as you're getting, 13, 14 hours of natural daylight, that's fine. I don't have any supplemental lighting on mine right now, and they're laying really good. Our city is still free here. Cool. Is that for neutering services? That's a really good price.
I think cats should be all free to
Yep.
neuter.
Corgolian says, I paid $450 to get my mutt neutered about 7 years ago. My Lord. They won't even touch Red, my big dog. They said anything over 60 pounds they won't touch, and I don't know why. Maybe it has something to do with the anesthesia or whatever. I don't know. Anita says 3 to 3.5% for layers. I thought that's what it was. and 1.5% for non-layers. Unfortunately, in breeder groups, the males will be getting too much calcium, can cause kidney issues, which makes out every 6 months. Yeah, and that's one of the reasons, another one of the reasons that we change out our males often. But thanks for that verification on the percentage. I knew it was around, I thought it was around 3%. Katrina says local shelter was $80 to fix a kitten as soon as it was old enough. Wow. We've got a thing down here where I don't know if they still do it. They used to do it. If you bring them feral cats, they'll fix them for free and they'll notch their ears, but then you got to release the cat again. I mean, I don't know what good that is, but I guess they don't want to put them down. Fig Tree Farm says a good layer feed will have 3 to 3.5% calcium. Oyster shells finely ground enough are a great source of calcium. Ground dried eggshells are too. Good advice on calcium. Tony says, anyone use the apple cider spray trick for introducing quail to each other? I tried it once. It I didn't notice any difference. The thing that really worked best for me, this is when they were indoors in the cages, was to make up another pen with a little bit of like furniture in there, and move the birds that I was going to introduce them to into a different cage, and at the same time introduce them the new birds with them. And I tried to do it in the evening time when it was, when the lights were about to go out, and that usually worked pretty good for me. But there's so many tricks to it, to get them. I've heard everything from spraying the apple cider vinegar to just adding birds to them. I mean, I've had success sometimes just throwing birds in as long as they were about the same size. How do you introduce your birds?
Put them in there.
Yeah. They usually work it out if they don't kill each other.
You'll know in the morning.
Yep. Cam says, my extra lighting string burned out and egg production has dropped. Yeah, that can happen, especially if if your birds are indoors and they're not getting a full, sun on them, full daylight. Savage Daughter Farm says, never done the apple cider, always introduced at night, lights out. When they wake up in the morning, they don't care. Yep. Yeah, was one of the ones I used to use. Papa says, I decided to make this show part of my Sunday morning wake up. Cool. Redbeard Rebel says, just put 45 JMF quail eggs into lockdown today. This will be my first time hatching out eggs, hoping for a decent turnout. Cool. The JMF line's a good line of birds. Matter of fact, Anita Garrett used to be I guess she still is if she has the birds, a JMF referral breeder. And I know Kansas City Quail Farm is also. And he says, talking to Papa, I wake up on Sunday for this live show, LOL. Corgolian says, TNR, yes, we have that too. Corgolian says, they'll also keep feral who are friendly enough and adopt them out. Yeah, we've got a really bad feral population around here. My issue is my neighbor feeds them. She puts food out for them. She's probably got 10 or 15 cats that hang around her house, plus a half a dozen of them inside. So good luck, Red. Yeah, Red's not getting fixed. He's a good boy. He doesn't do any of the normal male things, as far as marking or any of that stuff. So he's good to go. Paulo says, I give my quail mixed fine grit, garret. I don't know what that is. Mealworm in a cage once a week. Okay. Yeah, that's actually a recommendation by.
He said carrot. Carrot.
Oh, okay. Well, that sounds good. Jeff Maddox also recommends that quail have grit available to them at all times. Even though, I've got grit out there, I probably don't give it to them as much as Jeff would want. But with the feed, with the crumbles, it's kind of water soluble, so they usually don't have an issue with it. But he said that it's best to offer them grit. TNR trap new to return. Oh, okay. I was wondering what that meant. Keeps the cats from reproducing. They just live out their lives where they already are. Yeah, but the only problem with when you got quail outside, they still love to hunt the animals. They're still a predator, and it stresses your birds out. Oh, there it is. Sorry, carrot, not Garrett. I like the Garrett better. I didn't know what it was, but thought I was learning something. Julia says, this is my first time as a quail mama. How do I preserve eggs for eating? I'm very confused on the process. Do you have any videos on that topic, please?
I put mine in the fridge.
Yeah, you can refrigerate them. It's actually going to last them longer. Don't wash them. Let the bloom stay on the egg. But you can keep them on the counter, for up to a month. You can keep them in the refrigerator for longer than that, and they'll do fine. I have seen some people that actually freeze their eggs. They don't freeze it in the shell. They'll open the shell and dump the egg out, and then freeze bags of, like scrambled eggs or whatever. They haven't cooked them yet, but they freeze the eggs and then they use it for whatever cooking or eating, whatever. Anita saying, did you get JMF from Kansas City Quail Farm? They are great. Yeah, they are. I agree. Larry says, Double L Quail Farm, love your chat room. Tell HB look forward to using the jumbo Coturnix egg trays he offered and I ordered. Yeah, they work out really well. He sent me some, and they'll hold the largest jumbo egg you can put in them. Anita says, yes, we still are. Us and Kansas City Quail are all that are left. Yep. I don't know if Michael Rose still has birds with him in Texas. I know he sold, or I know Rebecca over at Thieving Otter took over a lot of his lines. Obviously, she can't use the JMF moniker, but if Michael still has them, he would be the third. Andy Rabbit, Kansas City Quail Farm is awesome farm. People, I'll be getting in touch with them again this year. Yeah, I need to do that too, Andy, because I want to bring Naomi back on the show again. She's done a couple of live streams, and they're always really great live streams. Data Farm says, I do my morning chores at double time to be able to come in and catch your live. I'm just a blur, LOL. That's funny. Papa says, question, when collecting your own eggs for hatching, how do you store them and for how long before you have to get them in the incubator?
I store mine in the mini fridge at the lowest temperature it goes.
The warmest temperature.
Or yeah, the warmest temperature.
Lowest setting.
And I have good rates out of that.
Yeah. I used to do the same in the summertime down here because it was so hot in my shop. The eggs, I don't think they actually started incubating, but it was, running 90 degrees in the shop or better. But I had, like he said, a little dorm fridge, crank the temperature up and store the eggs in there. Usually no more than, they say you can go 10 days, but I normally didn't go past 7 just because I was, worried about hatch rates. But yeah, that worked out great. And if you can bring the eggs in the house, if you've got a climate controlled inside, like air conditioned, and put them on the counter, they'll do just fine there too. Redbeard Rebel says, I saw someone on YouTube fermenting their quail feed. Is that something worth doing? I actually did it when I first got started with quail. I've always fermented feed for my chickens, and they did really well on it. So I thought I would try it with quail. But yeah, there is a video on the channel. Jeff Maddox doesn't recommend it because he says, they can actually get like a bacteria or something from the feed, but I never had a problem with it. My quail cleaned up the fermented feed so fast, it never had time to get old and moldy and whatever. Paula says, I look forward to your show on Sunday. Great show in the UK. It's 2 p.m. Cool. I was wondering what time it was over there. Thanks for your advice. Learning a lot. Cool. Glad you're enjoying it. And I'm glad you guys are checking in from over there. It's really neat to, to see people from overseas coming on the live stream. Andy Rabbit says, loved her on your lives. Yeah, Naomi's a character. I love bringing her on the show. All right, we are getting down to the bottom of the list or the chat room. Let's go ahead and do another giveaway, and maybe a few more questions will come in. If you want to comment, Gopher Ridge, hashtag Gopher Ridge, you guys can get some hatching eggs. And also, we'll go ahead and do the hatching time. Comment hashtag $50. Yeah, and we will. Okay, only a little dirt. A Sunburn Homestead. You need to put the hashtag in front of Gopher Ridge, and it's all lowercase and all one word if you want to be considered. Yeah, and the other one is hashtag $50. That'll get you a $50 Hatching Time gift certificate. So while you guys are doing that, I'm going to go back and see if we have any other comments or questions. Anita says Michael may have kept some. Hopefully, he will come back in on the future. Yeah, in the future. I've been talking with Michael, on and off since he moved to Texas. He says he wants to get back into quail. I don't think he's going to get back into quail in the amount of quail that he had before out in Arizona, but he says he does want to get back into it. But I don't know if he's moved into his new place yet, or if he's even set up. So yeah, it would be nice to get Michael back in. He is telling me that he's going to, keep the website up. He's also doing the paid course, the online courses. So he's staying active that way. But I would really love to see him get back into quail, in the capacity that he was before. Andy says, I've learned not to sweat on setting my own eggs. I like to do it with shipped eggs, like I do with shipped eggs. If it goes bad with my own eggs, I just reset more. Yeah, I do the same thing, Andy. I noticed, obviously, with my own eggs, I'm getting a lot better hatch rates. And like you say, if it doesn't turn out good, you can always go out and collect some more eggs and throw them back in. What's up? What are you guys doing, huh? Okay, we got a bunch of people. All right, that's enough. Bunch of people commenting Gopher Ridge. We will go ahead and do the drawing for the hatching eggs, and then we'll see if we get any more questions, and we will, or comments, whatever, and we'll do the $50 Hatching Time gift. Oh, it's already 10 o'clock. I didn't realize it was that late. All right, I got to come back to that comment right there. All right, let me share the screen here. We will go back to the giveaway tool. Let's see, I got to go back one page. Today's live stream, and we were going to do hashtag Gopher Ridge. Hey, quiet. We're doing something here. Cookie. All right, we got 30 entries so far for Gopher Ridge. We'll go ahead and do the drawing. Viking chick.
Sorry.
You see what we put up with over here?
Come on. Everybody in here. In here. Come on.
All right, Viking chick. You're going to send your information to Terry at coturnixcorner.com, and make sure you include a good phone number, good email address, and I will forward that on to HP, and you're going to get some more hatching eggs from HP. So cool. All right, we'll give it a few minutes. Our last drawing will be for a $50 Hatching Time gift certificate. Comment or hashtag $50, and you can be in for that one. So let's go ahead and grab a few more comments or questions. Muriel says, how's the aviary style hutch working? Is it worth it? I think it's absolutely
I
worth
think
it.
it's definitely worth it.
Yeah, it makes things a lot easier as far as cleaning.
Birds, health.
Yeah, the birds are really, they look great. I mean, Morry will tell you, my birds, I don't have a bird with a single feather missing. The only issue would be the eggs. You kind of have to watch when you're walking through the aviary because they seem to lay eggs everywhere. But I heard like Morry uses a swimming pool, right?
Yeah.
And
Kid pool.
yeah, a little kiddie pool, and they all lay the eggs in there. What's in it? Sand?
Yep. Beach sand.
Yep,
Or
beach sand,
whatever.
construction sand,
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah. So yeah, that's a plus right there. I haven't done that, and I probably need to because you know it's a good stand bath for them. But yeah, I love aviary keeping quail. I mean, I actually like it better than when I had all the quail in the house. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with keeping quail in cages, but the aviary makes it so much less work than having to clean cages all the time and whatnot. Let's see. Chantel says quailology. Yep. Michael does quailology. Yeah, he does. I was actually hosting that website on my server, but Michael, he got the new domain name quailology.com and moved it over to a different server. And it's really nice the way he's got it set up now. I'm very impressed with it. Papa says, question, what are the pros and cons of aviary versus cage? We just went over that. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with cages. I mean, it makes it a lot easier to, like if you got a rollout cage, a lot easier for collecting eggs. A lot easier if you got a breeding program where you need to keep your birds separated, you know, by color or variety. Aviary is just nice. One, because you got a lot of room for the birds, and you're only feeding one cage. You don't have to go through and feed a whole bunch of cages. You go out there, you fill up their feed bucket, fill up their water bucket, and you're done for the day. So it's personal preference, I guess. I'm getting to really like it just because, you know, the birds are looking great, and I like that. Katrina says, do you need to adjust birds from being inside to going into an outdoor hutch? I never had to.
I don't.
Yeah, I've never had a problem with it. I tend to graduate my chicks in the brooder early. They're probably, you know, 2 weeks before they're off the light, and then at 3 weeks they're outside in the aviary. So, Paulo says drum roll for the winner. Okay, we did have Viking chicks. Says thank you all. Whole bunch of people congratulating Viking chick. All right, guys, we are after 10 o'clock, and I'm getting ready for a giveaway here. Yeah, we got to do the $50 giveaway, and then we're going to pull the plug on this one and go get something to eat. Janelle says quail or aviary quail life is like daily Easter egg hunt. Birds are happy, healthy, living their best life. I agree. Let me get these questions. That way, after the live, we can just pull the plug. I mean, after the giveaway, we can pull the plug. Cam says I had reduced 8 housing units to 1 aviary, and then I started hatching in January. So now I have to separate the extra males, and I have adopted out a few as pets. Oh, there you go. Jacob says, how do you raccoon predator proof your aviary? Mine, yeah, go ahead.
Mine's off the ground. I built it like you'd build the deck floor, and then the rest is hardware cloth. Raccoon will tear chicken wire apart. Yeah, I got hardware cloth on mine also, and it works well. Mine is on a concrete slab, so I don't have to worry about anything digging under it. But knock on wood, I've never had a problem with like raccoons, but we do have, like I said earlier, my neighbor's got a lot of feral cats in her yard, and I've actually had to set a live trap out there, to catch some of them feral cats that were trying to get at my birds. But yeah, I haven't had a problem with it since then. Andy Rabbit says the difference for me is bending over. I'm not able to get on the ground easily. I agree.
Pierre says, hi, I look at your video on YouTube on the Coturnix. Many thanks. Absolutely. Pierre Canu Sembo from Dakar, Senegal. Cool. Man, we get them from all over the place. All right, Parker says, question, in your aviary, do the quail lay eggs everywhere, or do they like laying in nests like chickens? Tell them what you do.
I got a big kid pool filled with sand, and that's where most of mine lay.
Yeah, he said he cut a little notch out so the birds could jump up in the pool and lay their thing. I noticed mine with the pine shavings. In some of the areas where they hide, they do tend to dig out like a little nest. And I've got a couple hens out there that are collecting eggs and dragging them to that little nest and sitting on them. So I've got a couple that are trying to go broody. But, you know, I pretty much, when I walk in the aviary, I just kind of look around, take note of where the eggs are, and then, you know, try not to step on them. So Papa says, how many can you put in a 10 by 10 aviary? I've had 50, 60 in mine with no problem at all. How many can you keep in yours?
I've had 60, 70 in mine.
Yeah.
And mine's a 10 by 10.
There you go. All right, let's go ahead and do the last giveaway because we are running a little over time here. Okay, there's our last winner. Let me go back a page. Morning Musings, and it is hashtag $50. Let's see how many comments we got. 18 entries. And the winner of the $50 Hatching Time gift certificate is going to go to Tracy Lewis. Okay, Tracy, I need you to send me your information to Terry@coturnixcorner.com, and we will I'll get make sure I get a good email address for you, because that's what I send over to Hatching Time, and they will actually email you your gift certificate. All right, let's take a few more comments here, and then we're going to call it a day. Cam says, I made peace with my neighbor's cat. He keeps me on my toes so I don't get predator complacent. Yeah, sometimes you got to do that. Katrina says, will you let the broody hens try to hatch chicks? I was thinking about it. I mean, I do a better job of hatching, I think, than they do, but it would be kind of cool to see how, you know, how well the hen does. All right, a whole bunch of congratulations to Tracy. And that brings us down to the bottom of the list. So, guys, we're going to pull the plug on this one. I appreciate everyone joining us today. We had a pretty good crowd in here for Sunday. As far as this coming Tuesday, I don't know if we're going to go live. I don't have a guest scheduled, so I don't know yet. But definitely next week, Sunday, we'll go live again for Morning Musings. Muriel's got one more question. Says, is there a problem with quail eating their eggs? I actually have a couple out there that if I don't collect the eggs right away, there are a couple of them that will, you know, get into the or crack an egg open and start eating the contents. So, yeah, it can be, but if I catch who's doing it, I'll butcher them. But normally I collect the eggs before, you know, they have a chance to eat them all. So, all right, guys, again, thanks for joining us today. Morry, thank you. We'll see you on your next live stream. Everybody watch out for that one. That's going to be an interesting live from Michigan. We're going to do quail on the smoker and smoked quail eggs. So, all right, guys, have a great one, and we'll see you next week.